Well, it's a great day at Mendez Farms. So today I did my final steps of my honey extraction, and as you can see, there are bees flying all around me. I did my extraction here in the honey house, and the bees got a little crazy, and yesterday they got extremely crazy. So I was doing my extraction in the yard because my honey house wasn't built yet. And unfortunately, as I was doing my demonstration, doing the uncappings, I began moving the honey extractor inside here once it was built. It was late afternoon, and probably about 4:30. And I always say, don't do bee inspections late afternoon. You want to do them in like early morning, mid-morning, early afternoon, when the bees are out foraging. So in the evening they come back, and apparently come back with a vengeance. So I counted, and I had over 50 bee stings. So obviously I am not allergic, and I did not go into anaphylactic shock. However, I did get toxic poisoning from the venom. So it was pretty scary. I kind of was in and out of consciousness. I was very lethargic. I felt like I was always kind of semi-conscious, but kind of woozy, with all the venom pumping through my veins. And it was a really scary experience for my family. So my dad and Christian, my son Christian, was here. And so they were concerned. They thought maybe, they didn't know if I was going to die. They didn't know what was going to happen. They heard horror stories. But again, luckily for me, I'm not allergic. So I did not have anaphylactic shock. And that was a tough way to learn whether I'm allergic or not. But and I have heard different stories from different beekeepers that you build up a tolerance over time. And then I've also heard the opposite, that you can begin to develop an allergic reaction with the more that you're stung. So I need to do more research on that so I understand that more, because I've heard both sides. But the short of it is, do not do a hive or honey extraction unless you're wearing a suit, apparently, if you're extracting honey outside. Because as you see all the bees flying around me, it does attract robber bees, and bees fly up to 3 miles. So these bees can be from 3 miles from every direction. All I know is as soon as they smelled the honey, they all came running. And when I took my beekeeping certification course, I did learn about this, and I understood that. I believe I got caught up in the moment. I was super excited. This was my first official honey extraction. I've taken honey from the hive as a taste for me and my family, but this was the first time I was doing an actual extraction. And I had 8 frames. I forgot I had 2 more in the basement that I was preserving, and I took out 6 out of the hives. I believe it was like 2 out of each hive. And so I had a total of 8 frames. So that's a significant amount of honey, especially for a first extraction. So I also have a ton more honey in the hive, but the bees need to dehydrate it, and they need to cover it with wax. They need to coat it with wax, cap it, so that I can extract it. So I am planning to do another extraction in the fall. And I definitely learned a lot with this extraction. And I also had the Morningside Newsletter writer was here, and also her husband, who was a photojournalist. So I spoke to them earlier this morning, and thank goodness they were not traumatized, because it wasn't fun watching me run through the yard swiping bees because they stung me in the head, I don't know, dozens of times, and I was stung all on my forearms from trying to control the bees and fan them off. So my forearms are completely stung, my hands are stung, And then I have lots of stings on my ankles. And even today, while I was finishing my honey extraction, because the last 2 days I did the harvesting the honey, and then I finished extracting. So my honey is sitting in the bucket, and it'll sit there for probably about a week, just so I can let all the bubbles, release all the bubbles so that it's nice and crystal clear. So when I jar it, it's beautiful. And then I also have a little bit of honey that's in the wax capping container, and I will strain the wax. I'm not going to do that today. I'm exhausted. The venom has made me very lethargic and foggy. I feel very slowed down, almost like I'm in slow motion. I'm not my typical la 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 la. So, and then today while I was extracting, I got like 4 more bee stings on my ankle. So obviously I need to get thicker socks. These are my little chicken socks. I love them so much. I can't remember where I got them from. I think maybe Sherry bought them for me. I'll have to think about that. Anyway, so super excited. And then also yesterday we were doing our extraction. I didn't even realize it was National Bee Day, so how appropriate.